The NHL trade deadline has come and gone, and we're going to break it all down here, starting with what the Leafs did and what they didn't do. And then we're going to go around the table, give our biggest winners and losers for this trade deadline. But, boys, let's welcome everybody first. I'm Joe Chops. I'm here with Coach Frank and Bobby Bottles. Coach, you're back this week. How was the little trip to Disney World?
Oh, we're back. We're reunited, aren't we? Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't vacation. It was well work purposes, but I'm back with a fresh haircut and ready to go.
Beauty. And Bobby, you got the Canada hockey hat, so you're ready. You're ready to go. I could tell already.
Shirt. Let's go.
All right. Can I start by saying the biggest losers are TSN and Sportsnet? Like, I don't understand why they still have a full day of trade deadline coverage. I remember in high school taking days off of school during trade deadline day. My friends would do the same. Bobby, you were there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There would be trade after trade every 5 minutes. And it's just not like that anymore. It hasn't been like that for a long time. I just don't know why these networks continue to do this and put their on-air talent through this smudge of having to create things to talk about while there's like no trades happening. But nonetheless, I guess some people are watching because they wouldn't do it if not.
We have like we went from a ritual of where will Mike Sillinger get traded to what bad contract is Phoenix going to take on so that they can not have to pay money yet get draft picks and stuff. It's the new ritual of trade deadline.
And picking up goalies off waivers that nobody's heard of.
Dad, I won a gold medal.
Of course. Sure. All right, boys. So let's start with what the Leafs did and what they didn't do. So the Leafs made a huge deal yesterday to acquire former Norris Trophy winner Mark Giordano and Colin Black. Is it
Blackwell? Colin
Blackwell. I always mix it up. And they get that. They trade away 2 second rounders and a third rounder. I love the fact that they acquired these players without giving up a first round pick. They didn't touch their top prospects as well. Where I'm having trouble with this Leafs deadline was there's no goalie. And I've been on here with you guys saying we need a goalie. I think it's wrong to hope and wish and pray that Jack Campbell gets his game back that we haven't seen in a really long time. And it looks like, well, it does not look like that's what's happening. They're going to cross their fingers and hope that he can find it because he is the answer. And if the goaltending doesn't turn around, that's what will sink this team. And will it possibly even cost Kyle Dubas his job? We'll see. We'll talk about that afterwards. So how do you guys feel about the Leafs trade deadline? Was there something you wish they could have done instead? And how do you like that trade with Giordano?
Well, obviously the Giordano one, I guess a lot of people had that pegged as their number one target. So it happened. So it's good. Listen, the age is a bit of a factor for me. He is 3 years removed from his Norris win, but he's still a top 4 defenseman in the league. I like the fact that he's got some chemistry with Brody, if in fact he even plays with him, because with the injuries of Sandin, we'll see what that those defense pairings look like. So I'm okay with it. The whole story about the guy, the hometown guy coming home and play. We've seen it before. So I know he had some stability. He might even quarterback the second power play with Sandin hurt. So we'll see. For me, I think if I have to grade them, I'll probably grade them a B, only because, listen, you're right. They gave it up without a first, which, from the prices from the weekend, we thought Giordano was going to go for a first for sure. But again, they're dipping into stock into the 2023 draft, 2024 draft. So I'm a little worried about that. But then again, that's what the deadline's about. It's tweaking your lineup, not really going for that home run. You're not really adding a core piece at the deadline. It's more like depth moves, right? So I can understand the pricing. I was a little disappointed that they didn't address the second line, only because we really don't know what's going on with Kasha. I thought he was a good fit on the second line, so I really thought they're going to bring in a forward. I think that was a big need for them. So I guess you're going to have to look internally. You're going to have to look at Robertson, Kerfoot, but again, we've tried that. Doesn't seem like it's a working formula. So it's going to be very interesting. That second line to me is just very, very iffy right now. I don't know what the hell's happened to Nylander. I'm not going to overanalyze it. All I know is he was probably their best forward in the playoffs last year, and he's got to find that.
He was their best player in the first 30 games this year too.
It's just incredible. So I don't know if it's an injury or like Keith's got to recognize that and change that. Maybe it's Blackwell that plays up there. I don't know. We can go into that later because I just think, the top six needs to be maneuvered. But, the last thing for me is mostly I'm a little surprised Dubas didn't move out some more player contracts, like lesser known guys, give some guys a fresh start somewhere else, maybe some AHL guys. The prices were that it was a seller's market. So I'm surprised he really, couldn't move out some lesser known guys, even some guys that had some NHL time with some fresh starts, at least recoup a sixth, a fifth, something. So I'm a little bit but all in all, it was pretty quiet, but I'm okay with it. Nothing really head scratching for me.
Bobby?
If the Leafs are in win now mode, I wouldn't really care about that first round pick. If you believe that this is a team that has a chance to win a Stanley Cup, who cares about draft picks? I don't like we want to maintain our kind of our status, or we want to make sure that we're set 3 years down the line. Don't worry about 3 years down the line. Like, worry about winning a playoff series. Worry about winning now than winning next year. Giordano, he's okay. He's older. Obviously, I guess you could say he's an upgrade to some of the defensemen they have right now. The Dermott move, as a Canuck fan, I'm not a big Dermott guy. I didn't like the move. So they got a third for that. The goaltending, and Joe, you're going to disagree. I kind of like that they didn't make a move. I think they're telling Jack Campbell, who is a glue guy in that locker room, that you're the guy. We trust that you're going to get out of this funk. And I still believe it is a funk. And if you're a Leaf fan, you should be happy. Like, let him go through this now. You look at the goalies on the trade deadline. I didn't think there was much of an upgrade. And if they did make a deal, it would just be making a deal to make a deal. It's not like I didn't think there was a substantial upgrade. You're going to say Marc-Andre Fleury. He was on a bad Chicago team this year. His goals against his save percentage is 908. Not overwhelming. Is he
on a bad team?
I agree. Yes. Is he an upgrade? I guess you could say he's the one upgrade. And I would say if you could get him, maybe. And he's supposed to be a good guy.
I like the deal that Minnesota made to acquire him. They gave up a second, but it's conditional on that. If they make it to the conference final, then it becomes a first. Yeah. You're saying that the Leafs should be willing to give up a first. I'd be willing to as well in an instant like that. I think that would be a type of deal that I would have liked them to go and swing the fences for, because I think Fleury and then Campbell as a tandem, those two guys, I think you feel a lot more comfortable, and you're not just hoping and praying that Campbell can restore the game that he found last season and the beginning of this season, because we haven't seen it in 3 months. And now we're asking him to come back from injury and find it just like that. It's a tall ask. I hope he does, but I don't know, man. It's risky.
I'd also add, I'm a little, this goes back to what I said a couple weeks ago, or even on my solo clip. I like the fact that now, for the first time in a long time, there's light at the end of the tunnel in terms of goalie development with this team. There was nothing to look forward to the future. At least there might be something here with Shalgren, as a capable guy. He might even be backing up Campbell moving forward. Like, we're not sure yet, but between him and Wall, at least there's something there. And I think if there was nothing there, I think there probably would have been a deal for a goalie somewhere else in an organization to give him a fresh start. At least there's looking that there might be, if Campbell's probably going to be coming back. I think more and more it looks as if they might even sign him. It might be not as big as an AAV that we're thinking, but he is the guy. Obviously, he looks to be the guy, right? So from that standpoint, I'm going to agree with Rob. Campbell is the best goalie of the three they have. He's the guy. It showed that they can play in front of a rookie who's played 3 games considerably well. You got to give the kid credit. He's been okay. So I think Campbell coming back, hopefully it's the injury that, that's laid him out for this long and maybe was the cause of his numbers. So, and I think was it the game against Minnesota where he got hit in the head or where he seemed to be crunched over that he's never been the same since? Yeah. So I guess it's going to be, that'll be the telling tale, right? So I'm going to have to go with Rob on this one.
I wouldn't have minded if they had brought in Marc-Andre Fleury. I think the only guy, and this would have been like a lottery ticket. I don't even think it would have helped him for this year. If you could have maybe squeezed Georgiev out of New York, those are maybe the only 2 goalies that I would have been like, yeah, all right, this is a good upgrade. Because a lot of the other guys were like, it'd be just making a deal to make a deal. I think Jack Campbell's still a 920 save percentage. I think this is, there's the great line from the Dark Knight, the night is darkest before the dawn, right? And the dawn is coming. And I like teams that go on funks before the playoffs and then you kind of get it. So I think they're okay with Campbell. I still believe in the guy, and I think he's a high character guy. So I think he'll bounce back.
So would you grade their trade deadline day or week as like a B? Like Frank did some good work, but would have liked to see more, because that's where I am as well. Where we like to see more, I guess we disagree on that respect.
Circumstantially, I would say like C. It was an average draft. It was C plus. Like I don't know what else they could have done. That's the thing, is like the circumstances were there wasn't much out. It wasn't like there was a guy that we were like, okay, this is going to be a difference maker.
JT Miller, let's say,
which was probably, there was your, first round pick plus, a couple prospects. And I don't think Vancouver wanted to trade him. I think they're going to trade him before the draft. That's when you maximize the value on a guy like that. So C plus, average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's average. Yep. All right. Well, let's talk about our biggest winners and losers. So if you had to pick one big winner from this trade deadline and one big loser, who would you go with then? Bobby, we'll start with you.
For me, it's got to be Pittsburgh. I think
really?
I think they've already got a pretty good team, a sneaky good team. I really like Brian Burke. I think he's magic, that guy. And I thought that Raquel was a nice pickup. Is he amazing? Is he going to make them a lot better?
I love Brian Burke because he made the best trade in your franchise's history, and you benefited that for 15 years. He didn't have the same kind of effect for our franchise when he ran it.
I don't know if it was the best trade in Canucks history. It's top 2 for sure.
Oh, come on.
Marcus Naslund.
He's a legend because of that trade.
Marcus Naslund for I can't even remember the guy they sent, but was a pretty good deal. But I think that they were speaking of Marcus Naslund and the Penguins, I think they were the winners. I just think that they've already got a pretty good team. I think that if their goaltending can get hot, this is a team that has a chance to potentially sneak up on a few teams.
Yeah. And of course the Penguins acquired Raquel from the Ducks, who's had a bit of a bounce back year this year. He's played really well. And I believe they traded, was it a second Frankie and a couple prospects?
Yeah. Yeah, a couple Zach Austin Reese, I think, was one of the guys that went the other way. Just like
roster player,
Dominic Simon, guys that were like, okay, but I just think I like what they did. It was quietly a good day for Pittsburgh.
Okay, who's your loser?
I'll go. I didn't think there were too many. Given that these trade deadlines are so bad, you don't see very many losers anymore that miss out on big guys. But I'll go with Vegas. They didn't really do much. It sounds like their one deal to shed salary, which they're in salary cap hell, seems like it might not go through. So
yeah, true.
I'll go with Vegas on the loser.
All right, Frankie, who do you think? Who's your winner and loser?
Yeah, I was kind of flip-flopping back and forth between a non-playoff team. I kind of like what Montreal did, as much as that pains me to say it, like a kidney stone. But I'm gonna have to go with Bill Guerin in Minnesota. I think they had a great couple days. Fleury, obviously, they added a guy. I like Nick Delorier from Anaheim. I think that's another rough bastard that they added to already what they have and how they play, like Foligno and Greenway and Tyson Jost from Colorado. Yep. But the way that they added Fleury, I just like what they did by flipping McBain and taking that second and flipping it. Loved it. And then I think that was great. And then taking Kakinen and flipping him to San Jose for Middleton, just some great asset work by Minnesota. And you know what, the West is not there's some good teams obviously, but it's not as stacked from 1 to 8 as the East is. So Minnesota's like, listen, if we don't do it this year, they have dead cap coming up next year. So
that's right. That's
pushing, as much as all in as you could. So identifying you had some decent goaltending, but going out and getting the best available guy, got to give Guerin credit on that.
Yep.
It's not
one.
It's
not
one
loser, Frankie.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go loser. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton Oilers had a chance. Again, you're telling, and I'm going to take Bobby's take here. You're telling your guys, McDavid and Draisaitl, that we're going back with Koskinen and Mike Smith again. they're not even in a playoff spot, or they're barely holding on to one. And there were 5 goaltenders that were moved today. None of them were moved to Edmonton. They could have taken a swing at Kaapo Kähkönen.
They could have took a swing on Peter Mrazek. He was free.
But all I'm trying to say,
him.
Of all the goalie movement today, Edmonton wasn't in. Like, it's just bringing in Brett Kulak that is not a needle mover to me, or Derek Brassard. And I get it, there wasn't a lot of movement, but come on, you got to do what you can. Again, going back, the West is not as tough as the East is. So you're telling your guys that this is what we're going with. It's just not a good message to that room. So I'm gonna go with Edmonton.
Okay. For me, I kind of agree with you. It was a seller's market. I got to say the Habs were the winners because they were able to sell off a couple pieces for a really good haul, specifically that Ben Sherratt trade. I don't think that guy is worth a first-round pick in any universe. And I think as a rule, I would never trade a first-round pick for grit and toughness, which is essentially what Sherratt brings. His underlying defensive numbers are not typically great. Everyone just remembers him playing tough in front of the net, slashing people in the playoffs last year. And because the Habs made the playoffs, he makes it look even better. But trading a first for that guy, and he doesn't even have any term. He's a rental. I thought for the Habs to acquire what they did, like a first rounder and a prospect plus another pick, just pure money. And then they also got some good deals as well. I like the prospect that they got from the in the deal for Lehkonen.
Yeah,
they traded Arturi Lehkonen for who was it?
Barron in a second.
That's right. So I thought that was a good deal as well. So the Habs have a lot of picks in the next couple of years. If they hit on some of those picks, as well as they get a little lucky in the lottery and get either a Shane Wright or even better, a Connor Bedard in the year following, I think they could really turn this thing around really quickly. So I thought they were a winner. Loser, I'm going to kind of go off the board here and say that Florida was a loser. Again, because that Ben Sherratt trade, I thought, what the heck are you doing? That is a terrible, terrible haul to give up for that player. They don't have a first round pick until 2025. So Bobby says, well, if you're win now mode, what does it matter? Not having a first round pick for 4 years is a long time. And you're going to need players to come in on cheap value contracts because of the salary cap. So if they don't win this year, even a couple rounds, it's going to look even worse, that trade deadline. Now, they go and win a Stanley Cup, then I look like an idiot and I'll call it like that. Fine. But they're not my pick right now.
I just want to hold on, Rob. Sorry. There's a Leaf connection to what Florida did today. And I just checked this. I told you that there was a 3-way deal for Max Domi going from Columbus to Carolina.
Yeah.
For Florida to broker that deal, Florida picked up a 6th-round pick and Igor Korshkov.
No way.
Playing in the KHL, which somehow, what's going to happen. They're going to get Korshkov to come play for the Florida. Starting next year, he's going to score 40 goals, and then we're going to figure out why the hell Dubas let him go.
He's the new Mason
Alex
Markstrom for sure.
Exactly.
You call 100%.
Go ahead, Bobby.
I didn't like the Giroux move. Now the Florida stuff, no first round picks. Who cares? They've got Barkov, Huberdeau, Lundell. They've got Ekblad. Like they don't really, again, they need 2nd round picks, 3rd round picks.
They don't have those either.
I didn't really like the Giroux move. I think that this is a team that's already got enough skill. I think that I don't watch a lot of Florida games, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I think they needed a little bit more grit, and they only have, I believe, like Sam Bennett's a bit of a gritty guy, but this is mostly
apparently they have some good grit though.
Apparently,
that's what I hear. They're one of the grittiest teams out there.
Really, I don't see it, but I think it was a skill team that added another skill guy, and in the playoffs, we know that it's kind of like this. The grinders kind of get it done. Giroux's, I don't know. For me, it just like nice move, but not really. I didn't think it made too much sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think anytime you add a player like Claude Giroux, like, come on, you're going to find a place for him. He's still awesome. But
it's okay. I don't think he's awesome anymore. I think he's okay.
Yeah, I think they could have made maybe some other moves. We'll see. It'll all depend on what happens in the playoffs. That's when you really get to judge whether a team is a winner or a loser. And we'll get to see how big a loser we are by calling what we just did. So we'll see then.